आँखों की मस्ती के दीवाने हजारों हैं, परवाने हजारों हैं। और आप सोच रहे होंगे मैं बोलना क्या चाहती हूँ। Hey everybody, welcome back once again to United Voice of Women, and this is Vani with you from the studios of Mana TV, TV5, New Jersey, USA. Wow, every single week coming to you like this with friends, and having fun has become now a habit that I seem to be loving so much that I can't wait to come here anymore. Okay, now friends, once again, as you all know, this is UVW. That is an ode to the woman, a celebration of women, motivation for women, and of course, inspiration by and for women, and that's you. All right, so today's guest for us here, as you know, this is a platform for women from all walks of life, all communities, all cultures, and all countries. Why? Because we just want to have each one of you come here, join us, be our friend, and talk to me about just yourselves, your journey, your life's journey. And I'm sure this could be inspiring, motivating, and it could be a revelation for a few. And what can be better than being able to relate to women that are like us among us? So ladies, if you are all ready, you would want to be introduced to my lovely friends here today. And also maybe you're wondering, what was I singing? I was saying in आँखों की मस्ती के दीवाने कई लोग हैं और परवाने भी कई लोग हैं. All right, but well, I didn't say it right, but then okay, the whole idea was to say that today's show is all about these two beautiful women who are going to be talking to us about both of them are talking about something that I sang, eyes, and we're going to be talking more about the beauty, not just about the beauty of the eyes, but so much more about the eyes. And of course, we're going to be talking about our minds. And as you know, it's all about the mind. And now you will know shortly why I'm saying all these things. Let me take the pleasure of inviting you to meet my first guest. No, I'm going to call her my friend. So we have here joining us the lovely Komal Dutt.
Hello.
Hi, Komal.
Thank you, Vani. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Welcome. Pleasure's all mine. I'm so excited to have you here. And well, friends, Komal is a clinical psychologist. You see, it's all in the mind. Yes. And we're going to be talking about that and more. But let's meet our other friend here with a gorgeous smile.
Oh.
She just lighted up the studio the minute she walked in, I thought. And she is Jayati Sarkar. She's an ophthalmologist. Yes, we're talking glasses here. And we're talking more than just the look of pretty eyes, right? We want to be keeping them really good. So hey, you're going to talk to us about that and more.
Absolutely.
Welcome to UVW.
Oh, thank you, Vani. This is such a pleasure, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk here.
Like I said, it's all my pleasure. And you can see that we have such a beautiful audience, and the whole idea is, just a bunch of girls are sitting down together and just having fun, okay, talking about their life, talking about their personal journey, and through this, whatever we are trying to say could give a perspective to so many people. Have you guys ever watched a episode of UVW, either one of you?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
I recently watched one. There were, I think, the two ladies, and I think there was one person, I'm sorry I forget her name, but she talked a little bit about positive psychology. And
Yes, that was Khushi.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And I do a lot of work with positive psychology.
So no wonder that caught your attention over there. So was it relating what we're trying to do? How did it come across to you?
I think it was something she was right on target. And of course, we kind of come from a more theoretical perspective, just given my training.
Correct.
But I kind of, as we proceed, I can talk more, depending if it's important.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, the role of positive psychology and how somewhat it's kind of misunderstood. It's not about take everything positively. There's a lot more to it.
I'm sure.
And so I think she did a fabulous job, and it really caught my attention.
I don't doubt that at all. Actually, I was just trying to say that this idea of wanting to be able to relate to other people around us.
Right.
How do you like this idea?
I think that's so important, especially in the field that we are, medical field, and she's a clinical psychologist. We are always talking to patients, or we have to kind of create a relationship almost with them. You cannot, medicine is not what it used to be. It's not like you put on your white coat and you're there and your patients are here. It's changed a lot. So I think the personal relationship that you have with your patients is so important and carries you through, through the day, because if you just treat them like a person or a number, and you don't get the gratification from when you treat them like a person and listen to their story and try to treat them accordingly.
So well put. But
Very
tell me
nice.
something, both of you, as just a woman, that's what I want to understand. Because it's all about what we do professionally and what we do personally is
Right.
what we're going to be talking, because that's life for us,
Right.
basically. But what I'm saying is this platform, just as a woman, how do you think it is actually relating when you watched an episode? Is it relating like, okay, you get some perspective from what they were talking about themselves? Does it feel like an audience? Does it feel like, how does it feel like? Let me ask you. You want to say?
I think it's all about, it's great to watch all these women put themselves out there, tell their story to inspire. And as you know, we are still not at par with men. I mean, it's still a man's world, but we are getting there. And I think we have to keep doing it day in, day out, to put ourselves out there for our next generation, to be inspiration. Even if you can inspire one person, I think that's your day's job done.
So true. So true. And
you
I
wanna
always,
take off?
yeah, what do you want to say?
Sure, and you know what? Just when I see some women speak about their journey, regardless of their career,
Correct.
And what I really see is, when you do group counseling, for example, why group counseling helps is because there is something common between all patients. So, for example, we'll have a group for dissertation support, like people who are struggling to finish their dissertation, or a depression support group. The good thing about what you do, and when I see these women when I was an audience and watching some of your videos, is that commonality, right? These women have also struggled, or maybe struggle is somewhat of a strong word, but journey, let's call it. And every journey has some highlights, some not so good highlights. So I think for me, the most attractive thing is the commonality.
Yes.
And that's what makes us humans too.
So true.
Right.
So true. And also, there is something from everybody that we can actually learn, I feel. Definitely, everybody
yes,
has
of course.
something.
Right.
Sure.
I'm yet to meet a person that doesn't have anything that you can take away from. So I feel this is the biggest value that this particular platform can add.
Sure.
Right, every single day, every single week we have somebody, and everybody comes with their perspectives, just talks about their own selves, and it's just natural to them. But for somebody else who's listening to it, like for example me, I get so lost. Sometimes I lose my headset. Sometimes I stand up and pull the wires. Yeah, because I'm so lost, in what they are telling me. Because it's like how we are, right? The only difference is we have a camera.
Right.
And you're a perfect listener because you get lost in listening.
I mean, it is
that's a good
interesting.
point.
I love this. I mean, I really love talking to people. So I think it comes naturally, okay? So tell me a little about your life, Komal.
So, my family is originally from India, Jalandhar, Punjab. And
कैसे हो तुसी?
सब बढ़िया जी.
क्या की बात? नहीं क्या बोलते?
की हाल?
की हाल?
But I've been very fortunate to have a very diverse bringing up, because I grew up in Bihar till 12th grade. Then I spent most of my life in Delhi, and then of course I came to upstate New York to do my PhD.
Wow.
So it's been, or should I say, very diverse and very varied experience.
Right.
So so I, did my master's from Delhi University and undergrad in clinical psychology, and then my PhD here in upstate New York.
Wow. So
And
let's talk about what got you getting into clinical psychology in the first place. What was it?
Sure. When I did my undergrad at DU, Delhi University, I just somehow, I loved when I took the general psychology course. There's an intro to general psychology. Most psychology courses, if anyone plans to do it an undergrad, that's the first course you typically take.
Okay.
And even some schools offer in the 12th grade as well. I just fell in love with it, and especially clinical psychology, where although the focus is on pathology, Nevertheless, now I'm in office practice, and given that I'm in office practice, we don't see severe pathology, but we see people with everyday stresses.
So you want to define what is pathology?
Pathology is where somebody actually has a diagnosable disorder, if you will, although I don't like to use that term often.
Correct.
But some people do, and they meet the criteria. But the majority of people that I work with do not have a diagnostic disorder, if you will. Although I don't like to use that term, but for professional reasons we have to.
Yes.
But majority of the people are actually struggling with everyday issues. I have so many women and men like me, who, okay, you know what, today I'll get a call on Thursday night, can I come and see you on Saturday? I've had a tough week. And then I don't hear from people for months. That just tells you they're like people like you, me, who don't have a disorder. And so that's the work I do. I help them deal and manage. I like to call management is a big word in our work, like management of emotions, right? Like all couples fight, at times you want to, but then you got to manage your emotions. You can't get upset and smack him, which is, but although
that will call for
more trouble,
more sessions with you.
Human nature is prone to worry. We all are. Some of us more, some of us less, based on our circumstances. So that's the work we do too, worry management.
Awesome. And what do you like best about your work?
I think dealing with people. And I like the individual part, one-on-one, the depth in the relationship. Not that they're diagrammatically opposite, but they're new and different. They have a different story to tell you. I love listening to stories.
There you go. Now you know why I do what I do.
We grew up together. We went to the same school. And yes, and so both of us grew up in Bihar. I'm basically Bengali.
Kemen ache tumi?
Khub bhalo, khub bhalo.
I'm enjoying this.
So as interesting, we used to be chemistry lab partners, and we were in grade school together as well as all the way to high school. And now my daughter and her son are together in the same grade in New Jersey. So across the ocean. Yes, exactly. It's amazing.
That's what I was thinking on the way here, from chemistry lab partners to our first show.
First debut. Yes, exactly.
Doing everything together.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
Yes.
That's really awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, and then I decided to go to medical school. So I went and did my medical school in India, which is in Jipmer, from Jipmer, Pondicherry. And then I did my medical ophthalmology as well from All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. And we moved here about 16 years ago. And initially it was a little bit of a struggle in terms of trying to settle down, because our Indian degree, residency degree, is not recognized here.
Okay.
So I had to do my ophthalmology again, and also fellowship, which I did from Weill Cornell Medical Center in New York.
Wow.
And then I stayed back there in the system for about 3 to 4 years, teaching residents how to do eye surgeries, which was, I loved it, absolutely loved that part of my career. And as life happens, commute was too long from New Jersey all the way to New York. Didn't want to do it for too long, and my kids, I were missing out on their growing up, so decided to settle down in New Jersey. Now I am in private practice along with Marta Lopatinsky, and that's Eye Care MD of New Jersey in Morristown. And we are both comprehensive and cornea specialists. So comprehensive ophthalmology, we take care of all parts of the eye, and cataract surgery and cornea surgeries as well. Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So you, Komal, are in private practice as well.
Yes, that's right.
Correct?
In
So
Basking Ridge.
in Basking Ridge, and it's called
The company's name is interesting. It's called Directions. So when I get calls, can we have directions? And they're like, what directions are you talking about? The name of the company or the place?
Beautiful. You didn't give that to me. Didn't say it anywhere, but that is very interesting. You're giving direction to people.
Right. Well,
Right, exactly.
it was my. I worked with somebody whose name is Dr. Tamsin Tarp. She's fabulous. She specializes in OCD and does a lot of forensic work with couples and children. She so her office is in Morristown and mine is in Basking Ridge. So it was her company originally. So it was her idea for directions. So and I just joined, and
How apt and very beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, very, very beautiful. Talking about your clinic and, you know, directions being very apt, etc. the very first thing, I guess, in our community, from India specifically, I'm talking about, right, from our country, people don't really take it well, do they? A clinical, visiting a clinical psychologist is more or less like, you've gone cuckoo.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for a lack of better word, which is very, very shameful that we are all
Right.
educated people from India. We are very highly educated.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And we are talking this language.
Right.
Right.
And I think what it is, the way I look at it is, I think it's a matter of exposure. The more you get exposed to something, the easier it gets. So for example, take something, Jyoti, you might be able to explain it better. So for example, if we walk out of the studio and go to bright light, right? Suddenly our eyes close, right? That's somewhat
Right.
closed-mindedness. So if we are exposed to something new, like a bright sun, and I think psychotherapy is still in infancy in India, and therefore we have not been exposed to it. But what I'm seeing a very good trend is that the more, I think, media living here, even in India, actually, some of my friends who are clinical psychologists there, they're saying it's getting better. And I always like to focus on the hope part, that it's getting better. And I think it's purely lack of exposure, not because of lack of anything.
You put it very beautifully.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. You really opened my eyes now.
And
you
it's
know,
great to have a clinical psychologist as your very good friend. You know,
I would say so.
yeah, we have our therapy, mutual therapy sessions over
Mutual
time.
therapy, right?
Can I join the club, please?
Please,
yes.
anytime. This is all about, the connection.
Exactly, exactly. It's just about connection, right? By the way, this movie was a very great effort in India, I would say, Love You Zindagi.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes,
Where Shah Rukh was talking
yes,
about
absolutely,
it.
yes.
Fabulous
Yes.
movie, but you know what they show is Shah Rukh biking on the beach with his patients. No. I
guess,
I wish I could go on the beach with my patients, but no.
That was taking it a little too far, I guess.
Right.
Or let's say, Bollywood is all about above reality.
Right. But I think you're right, it does. And
It was. What were you about to say?
No, I was just going to say that in addition to the exposure part, I think one thing that's maybe, and I'm hoping through this medium, and maybe I'm also planning to do some outreach work through my practice, is to maybe educate people and increase the understanding that mental health, for a lack of a better term, is on a spectrum, let's say on a scale of 0 to 10. So somebody is depressed, so I will give a score of, say, 10 on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being high. But there could be somebody with a tree.
What's that?
Some on a scale of 0 to 10, if you if your depression score was very high, of course you would need therapy, perhaps medication. But if somebody, let's say, because of a life stressor like loss of someone or a relationship, etc., not doing so well in your studies, for students, teenagers, that's a big thing,
Correct.
And I think they may not be very high in their depression score, even if it's low, but they can still come for therapy and benefit from skills
Like
building.
nip it in the bud.
Exactly. It may but then you would still benefit a lot. So I think that's one thing about therapy is somewhat misunderstood. It's only till you're really having a big difficulty. You don't necessarily have to have a difficulty level of 9 or 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. You could just be a 4.
So what would you describe as an example for us to help everyone understand, including me, that is? So at a level, let's say 4, could you just give me an example of what kind of people would consider themselves, or you would consider them on level 4?
Sure. So for example, 4 would be that yes, you're functioning very well, like you're going to your work, you're getting your kids on, I'm just giving an example, your kids are getting a good breakfast, they're going to school on time, you're never late for work. But let's say you have some sort of feeling a little dissatisfied.
Anxiety?
Or you're worried, yes. But you're functioning very well. How well you're functioning is a big indicator for us mental health professionals. Nevertheless, there are a lot of times. So for example, kids, I specialized in college mental health. They may be A-grade students. They are doing very well. They have good friends. But at some point they feel, not good enough, for example, or they're feeling they're worried. There's something is lacking. Or they're just stressed, overwhelmed. These are some descriptors, these are some adjectives people often report. All is well, but somewhere I feel overwhelmed. I feel not as happy as I used to be, not my normal self. These are some descriptors of maybe somebody with 4. Or I find myself worrying a lot. I can't sleep well. I'm not eating as well. You know, I'm kind of withdrawing from others. So the list
Somebody
goes
who's
on and
eating
on.
too much could have something too. It could have something too. I personally just thought that it's some kind of emotional need, I would
Yes.
say.
At times, yes.
At times.
Yeah.
Right? But that develops into a habit sometimes. That you know, you just I thought, you know, I diagnosed myself that way. Saying that, you know what, yeah, I just did it. You know, give it a good thought, okay? And I just thought that it gives me a lot of what do you call it? Some kind of satisfaction. Right? Nothing else fills it as well as an ice cream does. Right? So you just get on with it and it becomes
Right.
a habit. Right? And I guess similarly, somebody else could take something more serious. Right? Ice cream is okay. I mean, to a certain extent, I
Yes,
guess it's
yeah.
just making me put on some weight. Right? Well, I know a lot of people wouldn't want to say that that's a simple thing. Putting on weight is a big thing as well. But to put it lightly, I wanted to
course,
say
yes,
that.
yes.
Right? But on a serious note, there could be people that are taking it too far. Right? Just craving for something. And like I just picked ice cream, somebody else is picking drugs, or
Right, exactly.
or you know, they are blaming it on somebody else. Right? This feeling, this craving is, I'm seeing that. I have a feeling from what I observe a lot. I love people all around me, and I'm like always, you know, so I just feel that, is this one of those reasons why you know, a lot of marriages, for example, around us, I know we are all happy in our own way, okay? But I also know that there are more stresses in the relationships compared to maybe even our parents' generation. I feel, okay, a normal family, let's say,
course,
right? In a
sure.
normal
Yes.
family, our parents and all, maybe we're not as stressed in the relationship as such as I feel that we all do. Some strain, okay,
Right.
and it's all because of, I would say, this huge juggling in life. But
course.
what would you say? I personally think that this they're craving for something. Maybe they're just craving for some rest. Maybe they're craving for just some kind of respite.
Right, and playtime. You know, some psychologists call it a playtime.
How beautiful.
So, for example, when a child goes out to play, they don't have a purpose per se. Yeah, they may be playing tennis, so but still, they are not thinking, "Oh, got to win." I think we all adults need a playtime. I think Jyoti and I often talk
course.
about
Really?
like going for a walk is our playtime, right? Because we. Okay, yeah, granted, some of us want to say, okay, today I want to cover 3 miles. That's
Yeah,
fine. But
yeah.
even, I think we all need these activities where we are just being, we're not necessarily doing. You know, there is a whole body of research they talk about called mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. They call something like just being and not doing all the time. Like doing mode is, you know, okay, got to get dinner, got to get the kids on time to school, etc. That's doing, and which we all need to do.
And we all do, I guess.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
happening very automatically, like a routine.
Exactly. And there's something called being, where I can, let's say, sit and one day, let's say, or even go for a walk in nature, or whatever that may be, depends on the person, what they like. That's, you're just being, you're staying in the moment. And that's playtime.
I like that word. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Playtime. That is so sweet. Okay, makes you feel good.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Already feels light. You know, you feel very light about
Right,
it, right?
right.
So yeah. Basically, what I was trying to get to is, I feel all the stress that a lot of women are taking at home is maybe it could just be some craving for some more time with their spouse or some more time for themselves.
More playtime.
Playtime, exactly, in every way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the problem is they don't acknowledge it, and that's why it just comes out in the opposite way as, I'm stressed, I'm not happy, things are not going well for me, and you are looking everywhere else except what possibly is your real need. Would you say I got it a little right?
Absolutely.
Could be a reason?
Absolutely. You got it absolutely right.
Wow, talk about it, sweetheart. Because you know what?
Very well. We don't the lack of awareness, like why am I frustrated today? Why? So for example, there is, I'm blanking on her name, but there's a psychologist who gives these talks, and she talks about how to be able to say no. Because at times we are able to, she says there's a discomfort. Like, let's say you tell me, hey Komal, can you make 100 cookies today? And I know I can bake well, but it's a lot of work. So instead of me being resentful at night that, oh my gosh, my whole evening was wasted in that, I'd rather go through the discomfort of saying no.
No, yes, yeah. And women find it, sorry to interrupt, but
No,
women
no,
find
good.
it so difficult to say that word no. And actually someone told me that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to follow it with any excuses.
Think Mr. Bachchan made it really big in this film called
Very
Pink.
true.
Oh
Very
yes,
true.
absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
he really translated in a way that it really caught on big time. Everybody registered it. This thing
Absolutely.
called no means no.
No means
all
no,
right?
yeah.
Though he was talking about just one specific thing, of
Right.
course. But you know what you're saying is so true. It is
Yeah.
as big, everything, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I personally have this problem too. Saying no is so
Yeah.
difficult.
Right.
Why do you think it is difficult? You tell me. You don't have to be a psychologist for that. You could have your own perspective, right? What would you say? Why do you think we have a problem?
I think, growing up as, I shouldn't be sexist in saying that, but I think women have a problem with the idea of not keeping everyone happy around you. I think we carry that burden that, at the cost of our own unhappiness,
So true.
we would rather see everyone else happy but us. And that's where, we have this biggest difficulty in saying no. And it happens to me all the time. As I'm getting older, I'm getting a little better in saying no, but it's still very challenging for me at times.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Why did you go with your friend for doing clinical psychology?
This is all from hanging out with her.
I think we need
my.
diversity. We need a little diversity here, right? Okay, when I have an eye issue, I go to you.
Exactly. Now, okay. You have a beautiful smile, all right? And I
thank
think
you.
it's actually showing up in your eyes as well, those sparkling eyes.
Oh,
Smile
my
is reaching
goodness,
your
my
eyes.
goodness,
That
yeah.
means this
I'm
is
gonna
like
have a big head also at the end.
or
the whole
a
idea.
smaller head, like as the Americans call it, shrink.
Shrink. Okay. Well, something has to happen after this show.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
big head, shrink, whatever.
Right. But just a little follow up on the no. And one thing important, it's important to know that context is very important. There will be days when you can say no, right? So God forbid somebody is sick. You got to go out of the way, right?
yes.
I think context is very important. I think it's a problem when it becomes a habit. It's a perpetual, consistent issue.
So true.
Because there are days we do have to overwork, and I think
Yep.
that's life.
Yeah.
And I think we girls are able to take things like that very okay.
Yeah.
The only trouble we have saying no with is with ourselves.
That too, very true.
Right?
Yes,
I
very
mean,
true,
we are
very
doing
true.
it for others. You
Yes,
know, we
yeah,
are. So, but we have a problem saying no to ourselves.
Right.
I think that is our biggest problem. So now you tell me, why did you get into ophthalmology in the first place?
I think I always wanted to pick a surgical field. I love doing things with my hands. And there was a choice between obstetrics and gynecology and ophthalmology. I think I went with the, in my opinion, the simpler. I wouldn't say it's that simple, but
No,
yeah,
I mean to say
in my mind.
smaller portion too.
Right. So-
Walk on.
right.
I like
right.
that.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's now become my passion. I absolutely love what I do for as my career. It's been a long journey. So I did my initial training in India and came here and did research and then got into ophthalmology.
Like you said.
Oh, right, exactly. And
How
and then
many
did some
years is it
teaching.
when you come here
Oh
and
my
study all over
goodness,
again?
If I tell you that
6.
actually when I started medical school was 25 years ago till date. Yes, it's been a long journey, but it's been very gratifying. I love what I do.
Medicine is
and
that.
Yes, exactly.
Takes
and
you
to
forever.
everyone who's aspiring to be in medicine, I just want to let you know, if you're in there for fast bucks, don't even think about it. You have to be passionate about it. You have to put yourself out there and know it's going to take a long time. You're not going to make big bucks anytime soon. You probably will make a very good living, but it's a long, arduous journey, but it's very gratifying, and you'll go to bed tired, but very happy. every night.
Do you want to support it in some way? Why would you say that they are?
Just
to give benefit of doubt to the men listening to us there.
Well, I think men do a great job. I cannot say that they do a great job, but I feel that we have a little more compassion, and that the ear that we can listen and more patient. So and a lot of my patients actually tell me, can you refer me to another woman physician? So it's not just, I know that there's no randomized controlled trials done to prove this.
Maybe someday they will.
Maybe, but this is from what I hear from my patients.
Yeah, you're hearing from your experience, and which is important.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. It's just your experience that we want to talk about anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So tell me. About eyes. I mean, everything else people talk about, you should do this, you should do that. I've not heard anybody say anything about eyes. Are they happy ones?
Oh,
the whole
my
body?
goodness. Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, you should do this. Mouth exercises, leg exercises, finger exercises. I'm tired of listening to all this.
Eyes? Vani, good thing you asked me. And there are one issue with the eyes which I really want to focus right now, and which actually is so common in women, and also being seen now in school kids. And because of our addiction with our phones. At the end of the day, a lot of even my kids sometimes say, "Oh, Mom, my eyes are watery," or they are tired. And there's so many symptoms of dry eyes. A lot of people don't realize that they have it, and it's women have double the incidence of dry eyes, and especially as our bodies mature in our 40s and 50s, it just the incidence goes up. Yes, of dry eyes. So some of the symptoms are irritation, foreign body sensation. You feel like there's something in your eye from time to time, blurry vision at the end of the day, and teary. So this is kind of counterintuitive. A lot of people say, you tell me that my eyes are dry, but I'm always tearing. That's actually reflex tearing. Your body is sensing that your eyes are dry, and they start producing these reflex tears. But they're not necessarily the good quality tears which is needed for lubrication of your eyes. So very important.
I think I'm there.
We are all there.
Yeah?
Yes, I think we face it on a day-to-day basis. Some days may be worse than others.
Yes.
So it's very important to recognize these symptoms, and you can do simple things. Every hour that you're on the computer, try to close your eyes for 5 minutes, or just focus on something far, because when we are staring at the computer for a long time, we don't blink enough. Our blink rate goes down, and that's when the evaporation takes place, and our tears evaporate faster than they are being produced. Okay, so that's why you end up having.
I wish we could do a siesta time, take a nap.
Exactly, like in Spain.
Siesta we can't afford.
Not in the US. You have to move to Spain for that, right?
Yeah, exactly. No wonder only they have a word for it.
Right.
Once you raise children, then go and settle down in Spain.
Right, yeah. So coming back to that, and then also there are some over-the-counter artificial tears you can put in your eyes at the end of the day if your eyes get very irritated or tired. And omega-3 fatty acids. For a lot of Indians who are vegetarians, they can take flaxseed oil. That's also good. That's high in omega-3s. Or walnuts, avocado, and for people who are fish eaters like I am from Bengal, seafood is very high in omega-3s. And there are, fish oil capsules, supplements over the counter. That's good for your eyes.
So that's good for you.
Yeah.
So immediately to fix your dry eyes, what do you do?
Over-the-counter artificial tears, some of the good brands out there. They are all over. If you go to any drugstore, you have them, displayed.
Would you recommend anything? No.
I wouldn't do it on TV to recommend one brand over the other.
I hear you.
But there are some and you can talk to your eye doctor about them, and each one has their preference. Okay, and those are the things you can do. And remember, again, the computer work. We all need to be on the computer for some of us 6-7 hours a day, maybe more. But just be vigilant about your eye symptoms from it, and just try to close your eyes if you can every hour of computer work, 5 minutes, or just consciously blink. Remember that you're not blinking enough.
Wow. Glasses are only for style and
my goodness. It is actually investing in your eye health. Yes, and the protection starts actually even your own kids. You can, I know little toddlers, it's difficult, but they have sunglasses for babies.
I've seen
even.
them.
Yes,
I thought it was just for
exactly.
style. I never
Not
really.
at all, actually, not at all. And remember, it's not just for the health of your eye to prevent cataract and macular degeneration. It's also your eyelid skin. You don't want wrinkles, right? Too quick in your life. So it also protects the wrinkles around your eyelids.
Now you're talking.
Yes, see?
And it took you so long to come in front of me. I mean, I have a huge problem. I have tons of glasses all over
Right.
the place, but I don't wear them. I love looking at the sun.
Oh no, do not do that. Yes, absolutely. That's not a no. Complete no. Yes.
See, such simple things I didn't think
Right.
it was important. All I thought was, I have them, why don't I wear them? Why don't I carry them with me?
Right.
But the reality is, I just love looking into the sun, so that's not right.
I don't think you should look at the sun directly. It's good to face the sun in the morning and do a lot of exercise like Surya Namaskar and all that.
I
People
don't do nothing. Yeah.
I know, like you get the energy, but looking at the sun directly is not
No?
advisable at all.
I prefer it like that. I don't know why. Now, this is very important information. Do you know that? I mean,
Thank
simple
you.
thing,
Yes.
but we don't really care about. I thought my eyes are not hurting, so it's okay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So this is serious protection.
It is absolutely.
You want to carry them with you all the time.
all the time, especially and the good thing is that most cars the
screen.
windshield has
Windshield
UV
has-
UV protection.
Correct. So
But
little
when you
bluish,
leave,
greenish
yes, exactly. But when you
tinge?
leave, no, it's I think it has inbuilt UV
Oh,
protection. But when you leave the car, is when you need to
that's
carry
when
your
you- okay,
also.
got it,
I mean,
okay.
it's good for glare, because when you're driving against the sun, it's good for glare. But it's important to not leave it in the car and actually take it with you when you get out of
And
the
we
car.
all seem to be leaving it in the car and walking out.
Right.
Because you don't want
Yes.
to carry it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Very interesting, Jayati. All right, tell me something while we are at it. I don't want to forget.
Right.
Nighttime driving.
Okay.
They have some glasses for them, I heard.
Right. Like models or REI. I'm not
Okay.
getting the name. The
Okay.
sports stores.
Sports stores.
Sports stores. Yes,
Ah.
they're actually hunter glasses.
Oh.
So hunters use them to decrease glare, but we can use them to drive.
Really?
It decreases nighttime glare. Yes.
That's very interesting.
And the nighttime glare can be also an indication of dryness.
Really?
Yes, exactly.
Now I'm a patient. For sure.
Or and sometimes if people in their 50s and 60s start complaining of nighttime glare, that is an indication of cataracts.
Okay, I'm not
But
there.
you're too young for that. You
Not
don't have to
too
worry about that.
young, but
Yes.
not there yet. Just a little away.
This one to prevent early onset of
Early
cataracts.
on. Totally. Kala Chashma was a huge number that we had to perform today. It was so important. Now, you know what? It's so easy for me to get lost in eyes now, and I forgot all about the mind. And then I was so busy with the
I got
mind.
lost too.
Exactly. And I was not talking to you
Yeah,
because
I'm known to have that effect.
you sure do, girl. You sure do. You rock. Okay. So I don't know. I'll come back to you again. But you. So even before we have people, we have a lot of people here in the US, right? From the Indian community. So do you think people from the Indian community do visit you?
Yes, we have.
What would be the percentage, would you say, from your total?
I cannot
clients?
say in terms of the nationwide. I can say in terms of my private practice. In terms of I think it's increasing.
Yeah, but what percent would you say?
I'll have to get back to you on
2,
that.
10,
a little higher,
yeah.
and
you don't-
I think it's getting better, really
Okay.
good. What we have started saying is that people. So, for example, I think the kids are becoming more open. So, if you see in college mental health, outpatient departments, because it's a free service. By the way, that's a very important piece of information. It's the services that the university is providing you.
Right.
And you think that, oh, I'm having some academic difficulty. We parents are so good in sending them to a tutor, right? So I said the same way, university counseling
So, yeah.
centers. I've worked in university counseling centers for almost 8 to 9 years, and I feel that it is underutilized a little bit because, hey, A, it's free. B, they're professionals, highly trained, and most importantly, right there. So I've had kids, they had some struggle with a friend. Oh, I'm having a bad day. Let me call the University Counseling Center, set up an appointment.
That's
I think it's fabulous because you know what?
Yeah.
You've not let it develop in your mind.
Nipping it in the bud again.
And as Jyoti said, mental health or any health is all about prevention.
Oh, yes.
And recognizing
So key,
it. Or we don't even need to call it mental health. I like to call it well-being.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Wonderful.
that's a good
I like,
term.
and you know,
wonderful.
so yeah, it's well-being. Go ahead and utilize the services. Talk to somebody, even if you don't want to go to a professional. Talk to your mom. Talk to your friends. And I think that's the shame part is the big part with talking about our problems, right?
Yes.
Hey, I did something wrong today. I had a difficult time with my whatever, whoever that is. I'm not doing so well in my studies in the last 10 days. Okay to talk about it.
So true.
And take the shame out. You are
So
not.
true.
I tell people, we don't become weak by asking for help.
No, maybe you should say it again because it's so important, Komal.
Right,
right.
I feel it. I really feel pain seeing so many people stressing out. Just, managing, careers and homes and husband and kids. And, everybody is building up so much of I don't know what, but they're carrying that weight and we all can see it.
Right.
Right.
Though
Yeah.
we are all smiling around and
Sure.
looking pretty in parties, we know our friends and they're friends we know from so many years, right? Though they don't really have to say anything specific and personal, we do get some,
Sure.
not exactly intuition, I won't say, but we get some vibes, let's say.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do get, because some people are talking more about how difficult it is managing the kids, or how difficult it is with my husband doing this, or how my wife's not doing that, or so all
Right,
these
yeah.
are signals.
Right, yeah.
And they, if you pay attention
Yeah.
to it, it's not
Yeah.
casual. I mean,
Absolutely.
you have fun for some time, but then I think there's a serious issue about it. And why shame?
Right,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that a huge question to ask?
Yeah, it's a
Sure.
very important question. Why shame?
Yeah.
It's okay. I think we were not meant to be perfect. I think we were meant to grow, and
And evolve over,
evolve
yeah.
and grow.
Over
And it's
time,
like
yeah.
when you first time. It's I think I use an analogy when you let's say you're fond of baking, right?
You love baking.
No, I personally don't, but I give an analogy.
Right,
For
right.
An example. For example, you want to learn how to bake. The first time you want to bake a cake, it's not going to be as great, right? I think you evolve, right? You learn the techniques. What went wrong? I think if we had just developed that compassion, hey, this is the first time I did this, and it's okay not to do so well in it.
Yeah.
So true.
Just telling ourselves the self-talk that it's okay.
true.
It's
Right.
okay to be not perfect.
And not to be too hard on ourselves.
Yes.
I think, what has happened over the last, I would say, 10 years, that we look at other people's life through the filter of Facebook and other social media, and everybody looks so happy and so perfect that we want, yes, and why am I not so happy? Because, and then we also put forward ourselves with that same filter. So I somehow, do you feel that has any impact on kids?
Great. And
Yeah.
often I have moms discuss, these days the kids are a little bit more stressed. I think social media has a role to play.
Right.
And also, before putting blame, I always think that, hey, I don't know, Jyoti and we have had this conversation. If we were growing up in this area, I'm sure we would be behaving the way our kids do.
Sure,
Right?
yeah,
I don't think
absolutely, yeah.
myself as something like, our generation was better. I don't think.
No,
I think
yeah.
it's just that, I like what you said, that couples these days have more stress. I think it's the environment, right?
Right.
If you and I had the same stresses today, probably we'd be the same way, looking at
Yeah.
our phones constantly. It's just that we didn't have phones, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
It
So
was so
I
much
think
simpler,
developing
yeah.
compassion for our teenagers, that hey, things are difficult for them.
Very.
I
I
Very,
personally
yes.
believe that.
Absolutely.
I feel the kids, but I don't know how right I am about it, but I personally feel that the pressures are a million times higher on our kids. And
Sure.
I don't know about the social media about it, like how much percentage of their stress comes from that. I feel their own family is bringing on to them
Oh, yes.
so much more than the others,
too,
is
yes.
what I believe. I can see that. I
Sure.
mean, though my friends, I'm sure you must have known, you will have some friends too that come from similar backgrounds, and our parents didn't put as much stress on us does not mean every one of us is doing pretty well
Right.
from our same generation. I don't see,
Right.
my classmates, your classmates, I'm sure you wouldn't really pick on anybody who just failed miserably.
Right,
Exactly.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I don't think we saw our moms stressing over how will they be able to
Sure.
get through this exam tomorrow. The baby didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? Parents are
Sure.
sitting and doing all those things.
Yeah.
They want to make it look the best.
Yeah.
They're stressing around.
And there's
Yeah.
another thing of immigration stress, and that's something when you ask me, do you see Indian patients? I think it's the immigration stress, not just with Indian, with any immigrant. Because I think when you're an immigrant, not that you're very conscious of it all the time, but at a subconscious level, you're always like, I got to do better. I've come to a new country. You come for a better
Yes.
life, and I think that anxiety gets transferred onto the children.
Sure.
And I think it's okay, but we have to be mindful that it doesn't get too much.
And for whatever reason, I feel it's just not okay. You know,
Right.
my perspective is that I
Right.
feel that
Yeah.
just by stressing over things, nobody's going to be happy. And when you're not happy, you can't do what you really want to do. You have to have that kind of atmosphere. Don't you
Right.
think so? That kind of environment
Yeah.
around you that
Right.
tells you that it's a beautiful world out there. Do what you
Right.
want to do. Be yourself. Okay, I'm here to help. I personally feel that makes more sense than every little project, every little
Right.
test, every little thing from when you're a baby. And I want to understand one more thing quickly when I'm talking about this. What is psychology behind this thing about mommies, okay, wanting their little girls want to be all dressed up with makeup and everything? This is
Wow.
something that I'm not finding very comfortable.
Right.
But I don't know. What would you say about it?
Are you talking about a very young girls or teenagers?
No, teenagers, you can't stop them now. I'm
Right.
talking about babies, right? It's become like a fashion that, in parties also we will see them,
okay.
lipstick, kids want to wear it and really not doll them up like a baby, but doll them up like a woman.
Like a baby?
Aren't you,
Wow.
no.
Okay.
I mean, even small.
Like
Haven't
little
you ever
kids.
seen
Okay,
anybody?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like
I'm sorry, but I'll have to think about it.
Yeah,
as to,
okay.
But I don't know.
With all the ghagra cholis and all that, it looks
Right.
cute. I understand that,
Right,
but it's
yeah.
going a little too far with,
yeah.
short blouse kind of a thing
Right,
and
right,
all
right,
that,
yes,
and
yes.
dress them up with flowers and jewelry and.
Right.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
wondering,
yeah.
is it about also, I could know now that I have to think of here on the spot and
No,
I
no,
could
no.
be completely
Yeah, but-
off. But I'm wondering if it's also about, again, because social media, it's, how you go to all parties, people are taking pictures. So, who
Yeah,
knows, I'll be on a
possibly.
picture and I want to look good. I think the ideas of looking good. And I know, for example, growing up in India, yes, cosmetic industry I'm sure is big there, but while we were growing up, it was
Not that big.
Yeah, at least at our age. I
Yeah.
think here in the United States, cosmetic industry is so
know,
huge.
I know.
I don't know if that's a role to play. I think social media.
Yeah, but
and
I don't know.
also I think the part is this, and I hope I'm wrong about that. And I could be completely off. Is also, are we stereotyping girls that girls need to look good from the very
like the pretty, the whole
the
thing about
pretty,
looking pretty.
I don't know, and I
knows,
don't want
yeah.
to parents who do that to feel that way. I could be completely off.
Right.
I don't know. It could
Actually,
be-
I've stopped using the word pretty with my girls. I have
very
twin
nice.
girls who are 10. And, sometimes they'll use that word term pretty. It's what's inside.
That's
So what did pretty do today to be good to others? Tell me one
Wow.
thing that you did good. And then share about your book that you read. So you have to tell them that being pretty for girls and being strong for boys is just stereotyping, putting them in boxes. And so boys cannot cry and girls have to look pretty. We have to break these stereotypes because it's so hard on them.
Explain it just now.
Yeah.
How beautifully you gave us an example of how to talk about pretty to your daughter.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Extremely
You have to almost
beautiful.
get away from using that term. You have to
Right.
use words more like strong for girls. Why not just why strong for boys? You can use strong for girls also, or smart,
Exactly.
or
Yes.
nerdy. It's fine.
Yes,
I don't understand why
absolutely.
can't girls be nerdy.
I have
it's
no
okay.
clue. And why
Yeah.
can't boys be nerdy either? That
Yeah,
also didn't
boys
get
can
me.
be-
I
yeah,
don't
And
get
boys
that.
can be handsome. I love buying pink shirts for my boys.
Exactly. And boys can cry. It's okay to
Exactly.
cry because it's such a
Exactly.
normal emotional outlet.
Exactly.
And I think that is being reflected a little in movies, etc. nowadays in
Right.
Bollywood or Tollywood and other,
Right,
you know,
exactly,
yeah, movies from India that are showing men able to express their emotions.
Vulnerable.
Which is
Exactly.
beautiful.
Like
Yeah.
somewhat vulnerable. And
Yes,
I think
I think it's beautiful. It's a
Absolutely,
very, very
yeah.
wonderful step
Right.
forward. Okay,
Yes.
I love it. I love it. But I somehow, while we were talking about the psychology, I thought I wanted to bring up this thing about little girls being dressed as women, and
Very
I
good
felt
point.
they are not allowed to be kids.
Right.
There's a
yeah.
very short span anyway that we all have to be a kid.
Sure.
Okay, and I feel when would we look like, you know, frilly little dresses and, you know,
Yeah.
those boots and stuff? We'll be stilettos all our life. You know, we're going to wear
I
them.
know, I know, you might as well.
Right? Yeah, we're going to wear that jewelry. We're going to be
Right.
all those things.
Yeah.
I love, you know, being just as we were dressing up cutely too when we were
Right, yeah, yeah.
younger, right? You know, moms made us cute dresses and got us cute things, and you know, we looked cute.
Right.
I think that was something I thought could affect the psychology of a child growing up, being so much aware of, you know, the skirt has to sit like this, or, you know, these sandals you walk like this. I don't
Right.
know. I would surely think that it would play on your psychology growing up.
sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Just
You
a
don't want
thought.
them, yeah, the level
Yeah.
of consciousness you don't want.
Consciousness is the right
and
word to
that
put.
and I think that increases social anxiety.
Sure.
You know that
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
And from a very young age, which is so not needed, right? You can throw your hands up and down, you know, jump and just be you. You don't have to be ladylike from when you're young. And a lot of people I've actually seen in a lot of parties, and maybe nobody paid much attention. I don't know. I don't have kids, so what happens is I pay a lot of attention
Okay,
to my
sure.
friends'
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
that are growing up around me, you know. So I keep looking, and I did see a lot of them. A couple of times it looked cute, but then this thought just came up because I thought I'll ask you: am I right in thinking that their psychology could be affected by it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
not letting them be themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
very good observation.
Yep.
Well, people like you, when you're sitting in front of me, I guess, you know, the vibes come through, right? It's totally amazing. Okay, so while we are talking about how we could possibly help women, you know, around us be able to keep the smile, you know, we are lucky, let's say, or we're working on it and we
Right.
try to keep it. But what would you like to say in terms of how it is seriously science behind it, you know, that the stressing just for regular work is not normal? Right?
You know, just in a couple sentences, I think we've already touched based on. I think it's the playtime and compassion. Those are my two.
Yeah,
most
whatever
important.
you want to.
So, for example, and also like, you know, before I kind of sit with my patients, I always think, what am I doing for myself? So I kind of try to, let's say, balance life. So, for example, I decided to work part time. I think that helps me. I exercise every day. That helps me, you know. But the key is also like the playtime for me is so important because you're doing something where you don't have the pressure to perform. So, for example, I go for Bollywood fusion dancing. What I love about it is I don't have to worry about whether I'm dancing well or not. That's not the goal. The day I worry about dancing well, it won't be a playtime.
Right. Exactly.
And
yeah.
so you got to choose
put,
the
yeah.
right person. So, for example, the place I go to is Bollywood Fusion Kavi School of Dance. Non-judgmental teacher. So you need people around you who are non-judgmental. You know, whether you're doing yoga or what. That playtime where you don't want to be judging yourself or allowing others to judge you is what is most important. And I think that's where compassion comes in for yourself.
Wow.
So that's I would say that.
Beautiful. So, you know, just do something and not think about how it's looking.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
What is perfect?
Right.
Sometimes I have a serious question.
Sure.
You know, what is really
Why does it have to be perfect?
Exactly. Why does it have to? It's like a shooting star,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, does our life have to be perfect? Actually.
And what is again perfect?
Exactly.
Whom shall we compare it with?
Right. Yes.
Right? Like you
Right.
said, pictures always look pretty.
Right. Exactly.
You know, all my selfies are taken in the best angle.
No,
So,
I'm
hey,
becoming conscious, right? How are we looking?
So I know exactly. You know what I'm saying, right?
Right,
I'm always
right.
taking my selfies from my best angle. So
Exactly.
of course, you know,
Sure,
everything's
yeah.
going to look pretty from outside, okay? But then
Sure.
again, you know, like you said, I love that thing about pretty being strong, pretty being good,
Pretty being good, yes.
kind, pretty
Kind,
being
yes,
kind,
yeah.
pretty being nice, okay, well
Right.
behaved. All
Right.
this is pretty,
Yes.
real pretty. And again, Doc, I want to get to you about so many things about these things that bother me so much around me that I think that people can so easily avoid. But when I say it, it would be different from when you say it, you know, because I'm not a professional, right? So it would still not come across as strong as it could come across when you put it. I also think that parents, again, just an observation that I'm discussing with you, parents seem to be so anxious and stressed while they are dealing with their kids and trying to help them do what they have to, or trying to put it strongly on emphasizing things about, you know, their play, their you know, extracurricular activities or their regular curriculum, you know, all these things. It's the emphasis more on how bad everything would be if you are not able to do this. I see that, you know,
Right.
scaring them that they won't be able to
Sure.
get to it, or
Right, right.
or how difficult it is to be getting into it, so how much you have to put into it. So I feel all this that's going on, isn't that scaring the child, as opposed to saying that, you know, you can do this, or
Encouraging rather than scaring.
don't you
and-
think this is a very negative way of putting it? A lot of people have it. They feel that that has more impact. Caring. I think so. Just an
Yeah,
observation.
I mean,
what would you say?
You know, I think scaring is only helpful when you're teaching them driving skills, like be careful. Some things you need, the child should
Right.
know, like when they're little, don't cross the street, you can get hurt. But I think with academia and career, it probably, I don't want to sound black and white, but it doesn't work. You know, what you want is encouragement.
Don't you think it is black and white?
It is
what
very black
my
and
question.
white. See, my dissertation, my research was on career choices of second generation Indians. And what I found was that, and when I was doing the review of literature, that a lot of Indian kids, second generation meaning born and brought up here to Indian parents, they were choosing careers such as medicine, engineering, very narrow focused. I don't want to sound judgmental, but like fear, for a
Right.
lack of a better term. And I think that's the trend. But not everybody is meant to be a physician. Not everybody, that's what they want to do. That's where the black and white thing comes. So if we are able to open up to different careers, like look at you, how fabulous a career you have, right?
yeah.
And psychology, for example, it's not the typical stereotypical career. And there's so many other careers out there. And I think just being open about that, I think it takes away the pressure from the child.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So I don't know if that
Beautiful.
answers your
Yeah,
question.
yeah. I think you got into it, and I think the whole idea we are all trying to
Right.
together put across is anything positively put would always have a better
Right.
impact. And because I feel growing up is a process, right? You were talking all about prevention. So if you grow up in a stress-filled, you're not knowing it. We are all feeling it,
Sure.
and we are just exuding it
Right.
unknowingly, right? And so if we do not calm ourselves down, it's not just us. We have got the next generation at stake here, is what
Right.
I would say.
Absolutely.
Right? Is the key
Very true.
thing, right? And most important, how could you do that to your next generation? They're your own babies.
Very
Right.
Right? You cannot do that to them.
Right.
Right? So, on this extremely beautiful note, I think we're all up for time. And would you believe it? It was just 1 hour.
Oh my goodness.
flew.
Yeah, it flew.
And in a beautiful way.
Oh,
right?
yes.
All thanks to you, lovely girls.
And you.
It was such
And
a
thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you for having
I
us.
loved being, having you in my studios
Oh,
today.
thank you. Thank you
Okay?
for having
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much, girls. And hey, I hope all of you out there had as good a time as I did, and I can't wait to catch up with you next week once again. But you remember, this is Vani with you on United Voice of Women, and I'll see you next week. Till then, you just keep smiling, and I love you.